Welcome to the Profit with Purpose show. I'm your host, Anna Goldstein, NYU certified coach, entrepreneur, and author. This is an informative and uplifting podcast where I dive deep into lives of entrepreneurs and change makers who are making money through living their life's purpose. The Profit with Purpose podcast is produced every week on Thursdays. Please subscribe to be the first to get updates about new episodes. All links and show notes are found at annagoldstein.com/podcast. Now let's get started. Listen up with an open heart and mind. Hello, and welcome back to the Profit with Purpose podcast. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about tools to manage and overcome anxiety. And I just thought I would talk a little bit about today's times because there's so much uncertainty in the world and there's so much news and Facebook that we're exposed to, and it gives rise to anxiety. And uncertainty is a part of life. It's a fact. There are things that are uncertain, and it's not a bad thing, because if we knew everything that was going to happen, we would be bored. It's actually important to have an uncertainty in your life. It's important to have, another word for it could be variety. It's important to have that unknown factor. However, it can give rise to anxiety. And I also just want to say that there are varying degrees of anxiety. So I believe that everybody experiences anxiety, and there are varying degrees. So sometimes anxiety can be debilitating, and sometimes it can be low levels of anxieties, and it can range anywhere within that spectrum. And anytime you do something new, you're going to have some anxiety. And anxiety manifests both physically and mentally. The physiological response to anxiety is often your heart is racing and your blood is pumping a little bit more. And that can be very closely related to excitement, because when we feel excitement, sometimes our heart races and, your blood pumps a little bit faster. So it's something to just, pay attention to, because we have the ability to transform our emotions, which is the most empowering tool when you learn how to do that. And just to tell you a quick story about this, the first time you do anything, anxiety is usually there. But how you relate to it matters, because what you call it impacts how you feel. So, for example, the first time I led a workshop in person, there was about 20 people that signed up. And I remember sitting there in the chair, and there's about 20 participants sitting in their chairs looking at me. And I felt this energy from them, and my heart started racing. I started to get a little bit anxious. But because I have these tools, I was able to then tell myself I'm excited instead of, oh my God, I'm nervous. And so what happened was it gave me energy to then give back. So what you call it does matter. And I know that's not necessarily always the most effective thing to do, but it is a tool that you can use. And just to check in, because typically when there is some anxiety, there is some excitement. And as they say, on the other side of fear is excitement. So they can be very closely related. I don't know if you've had this experience before, but if you check and you've done anything that scared you, or you've done anything and you've overcome that anxiety, it's like this rush of energy. And even another example here is I recently just took a frog. A frog had jumped into our pool in our backyard, and I was a little frightened to catch this frog with a net. And I ended up catching it, and I tossed him out of the pool into the grass. And I was just so excited afterwards that I had done that, because I was definitely a little bit scared. I was uncertain about what was going to happen. So anxiety and excitement are really closely related. So if you're going to do something new, whether it's talk to a guy or girl that you haven't talked to, or it's to reach out to somebody who you're a little bit intimidated by, those types of things are scary and exciting. So I just wanted to start off with how it's not all negative. And also share that anxiety by nature is future. And typically, if you're feeling anxious, you're thinking about something going wrong in the future and you're not present in the moment. So a couple of ways to instantly get present is to focus on your breathing. So typically when we're anxious, our breath is short and we can feel it up in our chest, right? And so what you want to do is you want to move the breath down into your belly and really start to pay attention to your breath and feeling your belly expand and contract. So you move the belly in and out, paying attention to the breath. So you move from the chest to belly breathing. If you've ever seen an animal breathe, a cat or dog, you'll see their belly move, especially if they're taking a nap. So, or even babies, they sleep, you'll see their belly move. So the breath is always with you. It's free. You always have access to it. So that's a way to instantly get grounded and move into the present moment. The moment that you become aware that you're not present is the moment that you become present. So I'll say that again. The moment that you become aware that you're not present, you actually become present. Another way to root yourself in the present moment is to really feel your toes, because your toes are the furthest thing from your brain. So you can feel your feet on the ground, you can wiggle your toes, you can feel yourself connected to the earth, and it can get you really embodied out of your head and into your body and into the present moment. So those are some easy tools that you can access at any moment that you're feeling anxious. Okay, great. So now I want to take you through a process of transforming anxiety. So the first thing I want you to do is, if either you're feeling anxious now or recall an event where you felt anxious, and see if you can notice where in your body you feel anxiety. So maybe you feel tightness in your chest, maybe you feel it in your legs or your arms or your hands, and just notice and identify where in your body do you feel anxiety. What happens to your posture when you're anxious? Do your shoulders tilt forward? Does your chin go down? Does your chest kind of cave in a little bit? Do you notice anything that happens to your eyes? Do you notice what happens to your breath? And then just take a moment and check in what happens to your thoughts. Are they fast or slow? Typically, anxious thoughts are very fast. And what kind of things do you say to yourself when you're anxious? And see if you can get really, really just more aware of the whole experience when you're in an anxious state. And maybe even hold that posture, that feeling in your body right now. And if you could describe the sensation as an image, what would it look like? So for example, some people say that it would look like a knot, like a ball of string tied in a knot. Some people say that it would look like a dark cloud. And see if you could describe it as an image to you. What does your anxiety look like if you had to describe it as an image? And then if I were to walk in the room and take a look at you when you're feeling anxious, would I see the image that you're seeing? So would I see the actual image? So for example, would I see a ball of string tied in a knot? Or would I see a dark cloud? And the answer is no. Why? Because it exists inside your head. It exists inside your mind. And so you have the power to change your state. So if we want to switch from an anxious state to an empowered, confident state, let's recall a time or experience when you felt confident or you felt empowered. What did that feel like? What did it feel like in your body? How were you breathing? How was your posture? Were your shoulders down and back? Was your chin up? Were your thoughts fast or slow? What do you remember thinking about? And if you remember that experience, and I like to use your name. So for example, like confident Anna or empowered Anna, what did confident or empowered your name do? What does confident you do? How do you walk? How do you talk? What trigger can you set up for yourself? And when I say trigger, something that can trigger you to feel confident or empowered. So for example, it could be just adjusting your posture and keeping your shoulders down and back to get into an empowered, confident state. So for me, it's my breath and it's meditation. So just taking a moment to slow down triggers me to feel more confident and empowered when I'm feeling anxious. Just really tuning into my breath. It can be that simple. Now, simple doesn't always mean easy, as I've mentioned before, but there is a process that you can take yourself through where you can turn on confident you, empowered you. And when you take action from that place, it sends a different energy out. So energy really impacts how things turn out, right? So energy is real, and we know that because you're listening to this podcast through energy. So when you have the ability to transform your energy, you have the ability to transform your life. So just to recap, just going back, anxiety is something that we all experience. We experience a wide range of it, but learning to embrace it, learning to work with it, learning to work through it really has the power to change your life. And any top performer deals with anxiety. It's just learning how to transform anxiety into excitement and identify with yourself as an empowered person, as a confident person. And slowly over time, when you take action, you will build your confidence. Don't wait to feel confident before you take action. Okay, it's learning to take action when you're feeling not so great, when you're feeling insecure, when you're feeling uncertain, and to take action anyways, because on the other side is an excited life. So share this with friends or family, anyone that you feel like can benefit from this, please share it. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at info@annagoldstein.com. Thanks for listening and wishing you lots of peace and happiness.
And that's the show. Thanks for listening. The Profit with Purpose podcast comes out every Thursday, so make sure you subscribe to be the first to know. Questions? Email me at info@annagoldstein.com. That's info at ANNAGOLDSTEIN.com. All links and show notes are found at annagoldstein.com/podcast. Until next time, keep sharing your gifts and take care.